Okay, here's Berkeley. She's so excited to show you the new drill hair for 2015-16. So we're just gonna get started by using this awesome brush, and you all have one in your kit, and you're gonna go from the middle of your eyebrow back. So I know all of your eyebrows are a little bit different, but just somewhere right in the middle. And I would probably err on going a little too wide than going a little too narrow. So we're just gonna make a nice part line. And all we're doing right now is parting the hair. And once you get it all parted in the right way, it's gonna make this hairdo go really quickly. So make sure you take the time to get it parted properly. That's gonna make or break the hairdo. So we're gonna take that middle mohawk section that we just parted off, and in the back you just part it right at the top of your crown. So that part we're gonna hold off and just keep it out of the way for just a minute. And then we're gonna take from the back of that crown where we did that top part and go all the way down the side. And then we're gonna do that same thing on the other side. So we've got these two kind of wings on the side and then that top mohawk. And those wings on the side need to be, they need to be held. So what I would want to do is put a little hair tie under her chin and hold them down right there. But she was like, no way, this is so stupid. So she's just gonna hold them instead. And then I'm gonna take that whole, right now she's not letting me do it. She's like, no way, I'll just hold them. So I'm gonna take the whole back part of her hair and just pull it tightly into a pony. And that way it's just gonna keep it out of our faces. I don't know what she's doing right now. She's being silly. And then we're gonna start working on the mohawk. So she is gonna have to hold those pieces, or you can just take a little clip or a hair tie and just clip them underneath your chin. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start on the mohawk. And most of you girls are gonna be doing this on your own hair. And so Berkeley is holding those two wing pieces right now, but in the morning when she's doing this on herself, she's gonna have to take a hair tie and pull those wings really tightly under her chin and secure them, because you don't want any of those wing pieces getting stuck in the top of your mohawk. So as you're braiding it, make sure you don't get any of those side pieces in there. And then I've prepped her hair and got it all ready, and basically how we did that was I just sprayed a bunch of dry shampoo in her hair and just got it kind of gritty on top, because we want this mohawk to sort of stand up. And then I'm just doing a 3-strand braid, just a regular 3-strand braid, no Dutch braid. It's just an over braid. And I'm just gonna take really fine sections and braid it in. And honestly, this is really easy to do on yourself. And her hair is dry, and I left it dry for a reason. It's a lot easier to braid and get a braid looking really nice on dry hair versus wet hair. So I would encourage all of you to do this dry. And then once we start doing the back of the hair, you can just spray it down with water. But it's also great to have your hair dirty, because it's gonna make that mohawk look a little more gritty. So I wouldn't do this on super clean hair either, which is kind of nice. You don't have to really get ready for this style. So dry hair on the top, and just start doing your braids, small sections. And then halfway through, I'm just gonna sort of start pulling pieces just a little bit. Apparently that's kind of hurting her, but I'm just gonna pull a few pieces just to sort of get it standing up, because we want this to look sort of like a mohawk. And that's what this is a mohawk braid. So we'll just keep taking strands and braiding it back. And if you're doing this on yourself, I promise it's not that hard. I would suggest practicing in the mirror so that you can get the hang of it, because you're just doing a braid backwards from what you're used to. But if you know how to do a braid, you will know how to do this. It will be a piece of cake. It'll just take a few times to practice to get it going the right direction. So I'm just gonna keep pushing it forward as I braid. You can do that all at the very end, or you can do it during. Doesn't really matter. And then I'm actually gonna start braiding it back a little further than needed, just to make sure that when we end up tying it off, that we got it braided enough. So I'm kind of over braiding this back section. Anything that curves off of the top of your head won't need to be braided, but braid it down just a little bit so that when you tie it off, you make sure that the whole thing is braided. And I'm kind of pushing it forward. Oops, a little too hard. And we are going to just kind of pull on it. You can just pull on each piece. You just want it to be really defined, each piece. You don't want it to be smooth and tight. each piece should be completely defined so that you can really see it. And then if you want, you can put a few bobby pins right there to kind of keep it forward. Or what I'm gonna do is just kind of tug on it and then take a hair tie and tie it off right on top of her head. So even though I over braided it, I'm kind of taking some of that out when I tie it because I want it to be on the top of her head and not leaning towards the back. And then I'm just gonna go through and loosen up a few of those little pieces. And as you can see, it's just a mohawk braid right down the middle. Okay, once we're finished with the mohawk, we're just gonna flip that forward in front of our face and we're gonna start on the back. And basically you're just gonna be putting all of this up into a sock bun. So make sure that you use a lot of water and hairspray, and I'm actually gonna use spray gel because I don't have to get my hands on yucky, and just get it all up on top of the head, that back part. You're still leaving those wings out. So you should have sort of like a triangle section. You're gonna add that back to the mohawk. So you've got your front section and your back section and you're putting those two together. And then I'm gonna take a hair tie and I'm going to secure those two together. And I would suggest using one of these hair ties versus the little plastic ones, just because we want to make sure that this is really secured, and sometimes those little plastic ones can break. So make sure you reinforce it with one of these better fabric hair ties. All right, now we're going to put in the sock bun, and you will each be getting a sock bun in your kit. Don't worry about the color. I just got as many as I could find in this size, and most of them are black and brown and only a few blonde, so don't worry about the color because your hair will cover it. If you do have really thin hair and you're worried that it won't cover, then just trade with someone that may have gotten a lighter color or darker color or whatever, because all the kits will just be random. So just grab one from another girl if you need to trade. And then I'm just gonna spray the hair with hairspray to just really smooth it down. And don't worry about all the hair, just that top part needs to be sprayed. And then make sure that you take a plastic hair tie and make sure you get the right size. It has to be a pretty big one. And you're just gonna snap it down over that bun. And I know you all know how to do this. I don't really need to explain this part, but you're just gonna put it down over the bun one time and then pull up on the bun, especially if you have really long hair, because you're gonna need room underneath that bun to get all of that hair to fit. And then I'm just gonna take Berkeley's hair and part it in the back and in the front to make two equal portions of hair that are still sticking out from that bun. And make sure that you don't get any of that front part, those wings, in the hair, in the bun hair. And then what I'm doing now is I'm just taking up both those sections that I created and I'm just twisting them. And I'm twisting them both forward toward the face. And then as I'm twisting, I'm just going to start twisting this around the bun. And this part does not have to be perfect. Basically, all you're doing is getting the hair up under that sock bun. And just take a hairpin, and I would recommend hairpins for this hairstyle. They're just so much easier, and you won't need as many. And then I'm gonna twist that other side and twist it the opposite direction. And then again, just like stick it right under that bun and secure it. And then once you get both sides up in the bun, oops, Chandler walked in. All right, bud, out of the camera. Once you get both sides in, you're just gonna take a bunch of hairpins and start securing this down. And I like to stick the hairpins right through the bun form because that really secures the hair to the bun form. And then I just put in as many pins as I need to make sure that that bun isn't going anywhere. And you honestly don't need that many. And you don't really need to worry about making this part look perfect because those side wings are going to be covering it. So just make sure that you get it secure and that you're not gonna have little pieces fly out anywhere. I'm just gonna go around her head and secure here and there with the hairpins. And she's actually telling me where to put them because she can feel where there are loose spots and where there are tight spots. So when she's doing this on her own hair, it'll be a lot easier for her to be able to tell. Okay, now we're finally to the wings. And what you're gonna do is if you had it in a hair tie, just let those down, so both sides are down, and then just spray them with tons of water. You want this part to be pretty wet so you can work with it. And this part you also want it to be really slick. So if you need to put spray gel in and hairspray, this is where you're gonna do it. And then you're gonna take your awesome brush and you're gonna slick back both sides of those wings. And this is what makes this hairstyle look so cool. It's just gonna be really flat against the head, and the tighter you have those side wings, the better the mohawk's gonna look, because that's what we want standing out. So we're gonna get the sides really, really tight. And then once you get both sides super tight, you pull those together. And then you're gonna secure these with a little hair tie right under the bun. So take your time and get those really tight, smooth, slick. And then make sure you take a clear hair tie and take it right underneath the bun and secure it. And then pull that tight. So it kind of looks like a high ponytail coming off the back. And then if you have any little pieces sticking out on the sides, you're just gonna spray those down with hairspray, smooth it back. I've got spray gel, hairspray, and water that I'm gonna be working with to get everything just really smooth and slick on this part. Okay, once we have that all slicked back and ready to go, we're gonna take the hair, that ponytail in the back, and we're gonna split it in two. So just two sections. And then you're gonna work with one side and you're going to spray it with hairspray and smooth it out and make it look kind of like a, you're gonna kind of pancake it and kind of flatten it out so that it almost looks like a strip. And the wetter this is, the better. And then you're just gonna take that hair and you're gonna smooth it around the front, all the way around. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna secure it as I go. I just think it's a little bit easier. And just make sure you keep pulling it tight. And then securing that as you go around. And then I'm gonna lift up on that other pony and I'm gonna take the rest of that pony right underneath the other one. And make sure that you lift up the pony and put that on top of it. So the pony, the other little section pony goes right on top of the wraparound. And that's important because we're gonna see that in the back. And then what you do is you just take your fingers lightly and kind of fold that up and just start kind of pulling it up with your fingers. And that'll just cover all of that other stuff underneath the bun. And then take your other side and spray it down with hairspray and run your fingers through it and just kind of flatten it out and get it really smooth. And then you're gonna take that and you're gonna go the opposite direction. Make sure that dries before you start folding it around. Opposite direction, and go even up a little further around on the other side. And smooth that all the way around. And then I'm going down under again in the back. And then you'll just secure it. You're not even gonna need to use that many hairpins, but just secure that at the bottom. And then you're just gonna go around with hairpins and just start securing spots that feel like they need to be secured. And it should look pretty smooth on that part. And then I'm gonna just put a few pins in the top to secure that top part to the actual bun. And you can kind of see those hairpins are a little bit darker than Berkeley's hair, but once we get the Swarovski crystals in, you won't even notice any of that. It won't matter. And on stage, you won't be able to see it either. So just go around the head and start pinning in hairpins to just really make sure that that's all smooth. And then in the back, it creates this really cool, whoops, sorry about that. In the back, it just creates this really cool twist. You can see it's one part of that section is going to the left and one's going to the right. And then everything's pinned down underneath it. It looks really, really cool from the back. Sorry about the camera adjusting. So that's how it's gonna look before you put the hairpins in. And that's also the makeup. So you can see that just the very top of the bun is sticking out. Everything else is kind of wrapped in. Sides are really slick. And the focus is that awesome top braid. Berkeley's getting really sick of this. She wants to be done. All right, lastly, we're gonna put the hairpins in the hair. And you guys, these are so awesome. And these are totally original. No one else will have these anywhere. I just completely made them up. They took a long, long time to make them. Probably 2 months to make all 400 of these. So basically each girl gets 10. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna place them randomly in that bun and only in the bun. So it's gonna look kind of like polka dots in that bun. And each, like I said, each girl has 10. You do have the option to order an extra 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever if you'd like. I did make some extras just because I'm worried that they might get lost. And so make sure that you have a backup plan. If you're super responsible and you know where they are at all times, and you don't need to worry about getting an extra one, but just for a backup plan, you may want to have an extra, and just keep them in with your makeup kit and just be really responsible with them. They're not fragile, but I mean, you don't want to be ripping them in and out of the hair. They have a lot of glitter on them, and they're secure, but they're not going to withstand, you know, a lot of beating. So make sure that you're really gentle with them and careful, and that you keep them in a really nice, good place, and don't lose them. So again, each girl should have 10. They look amazing. They're so fun. So that will do it for the hair and the makeup. And in a minute, we're gonna go outside and take some pictures so that you can see the makeup, finished makeup, and the hair finished out in the light, because the lighting down in the salon isn't that great. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to call me anytime. If you need me to do a tutorial for you, a live tutorial, because you're not sure what you're doing and have questions, I'm happy to work with you and help anyone that needs help. So here's the finished product. It's so pretty. I just love it. You guys are gonna look amazing. Thanks for watching.